All right, ready to dive deep?
Let's do it.
Today, we're tackling something big.
Huge.
Information overload.
It's everywhere.
It's like how it affects our brains.
Definitely.
How we're, functioning.
And society as a whole, even.
By the end, I promise, not just the facts.
It's crucial to understand the why.
a whole new way to see, information itself.
I like that. New perspectives are key.
Ready.
Absolutely. Let's dive in.
This isn't just a swimming pool.
Yeah.
This is Mariana Trench deep.
Deep dives is the perfect way to put it, I think. This goes way beyond, too many tabs open on your browser.
Or a scary inbox.
Oh, that inbox dread is real.
Yeah.
But we're talking about something bigger here, a real phenomena.
With consequences.
Serious ones. But, and this is key, we're giving you the tools to handle it all.
Okay, so, unpacking this whole thing. We found this phrase in the research.
Oh, tell me.
Information as pollution.
Interesting.
Sounds kind of out there at first, right?
It's provocative, for sure.
But the more you think about it,
It gets you thinking.
kind of clicks.
Right. It's like, our brains are amazing, don't get me wrong.
And
But
there's a limit.
exactly. Our capacity to process all this information, it's finite.
You wouldn't keep downloading a zillion things.
Your computer would be so mad at you.
Crash, right?
Exactly. And our brains, complex as they are,
Not so different.
not when it comes to overload. And, just like with pollution out there in the environment,
We can see it, the impact.
right? The damage is visible.
Yeah.
Well, information overload, that's like pollution for our minds.
And it's not just a theory.
Oh, no. This is real world stuff. Tangible consequences. We're talking about how it affects our decisions, our focus, our well-being.
Which is honestly kind of terrifying when you remember how much information there is.
It's overwhelming just to think about.
Almost 2 billion websites.
Billions.
Every single day, 175 million tweets.
It's a constant stream.
Don't even get me started on Facebook.
Oh, I know. It's like, how many billions of posts a month?
30 billion a month. Even just picturing those numbers.
Makes you feel overloaded already.
Exactly. And that
Yeah.
feeling, that overwhelmed feeling.
It's a red flag. Your brain is waving its hand saying, too much, too much.
Hold up.
Exactly. We push past that, though, don't we?
We do.
And what happens? Decisions.
Not good.
Focus. Gone.
It's our brains say, nope.
Critical thinking. Out the window. It's ironic, really.
So wait, more information.
Which should theoretically make us,
Smarter, better.
right, more effective.
Wow.
But instead,
Makes the opposite.
it can be, we're less effective despite all the knowledge at our fingertips.
The American Psychological Association, they actually have a definition for this.
Oh, they do? Tell me.
Information overload. It's when the information, how fast it comes at you.
The intensity of it.
Yes, when it surpasses, our capacity.
Our poor brains. What happens when we just can't process it all?
Stress,
Big one.
anxiety,
Definitely.
bad decisions.
You nailed it. It's like we're in this weird paradox. Right?
Total paradox. We have all this incredible knowledge, technology gives us that.
Access like never before.
But then it's also bombarding us with so much we can't even function right.
A double-edged sword for sure.
Yeah.
It's like you're craving a nice, 5-course meal.
Fancy.
But instead of that lovely meal, they wheel out this buffet
Oh, no.
the size of a football field.
Too much. And then we feel this pressure, right? Gotta be connected constantly.
FOMO. Fear of missing out.
Never miss out. Gotta be on.
It's the illusion of productivity, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're on, but are we really getting things done?
Not really. It's keeping us from the deep work.
The stuff that really matters. And here's the thing. Not everyone's experiencing this overload the same way.
That's the digital divide, right?
Exactly. Some people are practically drowning in information.
Others can't even get online.
And this gap just makes existing inequalities so much worse. We're talking about education, job opportunities.
Healthcare, even.
Think about the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
Suddenly, it was remote learning, telehealth. If you didn't have access.
You were completely left behind.
Exactly. And on a personal level, this isn't just affecting our minds. Our bodies are feeling the strain, too.
Okay, so not just our brains are freaking out.
Our bodies, too. Think about it. Stress is stress.
Mm-hmm.
Your body can't tell the difference between a work email that makes you want to scream.
And an actual bear chasing you.
Well, maybe not that extreme, but you get the idea. Your body reacts in a similar way.
Fight or flight mode activated.
Exactly. Those stress hormones we talked about earlier, cortisol, adrenaline, they go into overdrive.
Yeah.
Your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure rises.
Which, let's be honest, is how a lot of us are feeling these days. Constantly.
And that takes a toll. Our bodies aren't meant to be in that state 24/7. We end up feeling exhausted, run down. It can even weaken our immune systems.
So information overload, not just stressing us out mentally.
Physically, too, it's a 1-2 punch.
And here I was thinking I was a master multitasker, like 20 tabs open, jumping between things, feeling super productive.
Ah, the multitasking myth. We all fall for it.
So it's a myth. It's not just me.
It's a myth. Our brains just aren't wired that way. We think we're being efficient, but
We're actually losing time.
every time we switch between tasks, there's a cost.
A cost, like what?
Switching cost. We might feel like we're seamlessly transitioning, but our brains, they're working overtime to keep up.
So every time I see a notification pop up and I click on it, instead of finishing this super important work thing,
You're actually making yourself less productive.
how much less productive are we talking here?
Studies show multitasking can decrease productivity by up to 40%.
40%. Seriously. Okay, I feel attacked right now.
They're not alone. But speaking of how this all impacts our focus and well-being, let's talk about something else that often gets overlooked.
Sleep.
Oh, man.
Sleep.
The Holy Grail. Or in this case, maybe the thing that feels impossible to achieve.
Because we're also plugged in all the time.
And all that information, that blue light from our devices, it's a recipe for sleep disaster.
So this blue light, what is it doing to us? Is it really that bad?
It's worse than people think.
I mean, I always feel kind of groggy, after scrolling on my phone in bed.
It's not just you.
But I figured that was just me. I need to work on my, sleep hygiene.
We could all use a little sleep hygiene boost, but that blue light, it's messing with something crucial.
Okay, what's it doing?
Melatonin,
Wait, melatonin, that's the, sleep hormone, right?
the one and only. Tells our bodies it's nighttime, time to wind down.
But the blue light's messing that up.
Suppresses it. Big time. So think about it. We're overloading our brains, disrupting our sleep.
And then we wake up feeling even worse.
Exactly. Stressed, anxious, even less able to handle everything coming at us. It's a recipe for disaster.
Burnout City. This is starting to feel less like a deep dive and more like what's it called? Like a downward spiral.
It can feel that way, that's for sure.
But there's got to be a way out, right? We're not just doomed.
Absolutely not. We have more power than we think.
Give me some good news here.
We can totally navigate this information overload thing.
Without having to, move to a deserted island.
No deserted islands required. Unless that's your thing, of course.
Not my scene. Okay, so what can we actually do?
It starts with boundaries.
Boundaries.
Digital boundaries. We're putting a fence around our attention,
Okay, I like that.
giving ourselves some breathing room.
Because we need it. But setting boundaries, that's kind of vague, right?
True, it's about taking action.
So practical tips, stuff I can start doing today.
Absolutely.
Really?
Simple things.
Yeah.
Limit device use at certain times.
No phone after dinner.
Exactly.
Oh.
Or maybe an hour before bed.
Yeah.
Even better, create device-free zones.
Oh, certain rooms. No phones allowed. I like that.
It can make a big difference.
Okay, what about notifications?
Oh, the notifications.
The worst. They pop up every 5 seconds, totally break my focus.
They're designed to be addictive, but we can fight back. Start by disabling the ones you don't really need.
Do I really need to know every time someone likes my Instagram?
Probably not. And how about those Facebook comment notifications? Especially on posts from, a week ago.
Okay, those can go. Those are pointless. But what about email?
Email.
That one feels unavoidable.
It doesn't have to be a constant source of stress, though. Instead of checking it constantly, every 5 minutes,
Oh, you know me so well.
try scheduling specific times,
Yeah.
like you're making an appointment.
An appointment with my inbox.
Exactly. Instead of letting it interrupt you all day long.
So it's about being, intentional, not just letting all this information wash over me.
Being mindful.
Yeah,
Choosing when and how you're going to engage.
I can get behind that. But what about when those boundaries aren't enough?
Ah, I see where you're going with this. Sometimes we need a bigger break.
A full-on timeout.
Exactly. That's where the digital detox comes in.
Okay, I'll be honest. I used to roll my eyes at digital detox. It sounded so, influencer on a yoga retreat.
I get it. It's become a bit of a buzzword.
But you're saying it's legit.
It can be. And it doesn't have to be this big dramatic thing. It's not about demonizing technology.
Okay, good.
It's not about becoming a hermit.
So you're not saying I need to throw away my smartphone?
Not unless you want to. It's about giving your brain a break, a chance to reset, to remember what it's like to just be.
I actually tried this. A mini digital detox. Just for a weekend.
Oh, tell me more.
Left my phone at home, went hiking with a friend.
That was nice.
It was amazing. I hadn't realized how much I missed, just being present.
That's what it's all about. We get so caught up in the digital world, we forget about, like, actual reality.
Yeah.
Human connection.
And sometimes that's where we find the good stuff.
The good stuff. The things that truly recharge us.
Okay, so boundaries, digital detox, those are good starting points.
They are. But what about that feeling of mental overload?
Yeah, like my brain is Grand Central Station at rush hour.
Thoughts racing, information coming in from all directions.
Exactly, anything for that.
Mindfulness.
Mindfulness, okay.
And meditation.
Mindfulness. Meditation, I'll be honest, those always felt kind of, I don't know.
Ooh, woo-woo.
Yeah, kind of. Any tips for those of us who are like total beginners?
Absolutely. It's not about, chanting on a mountaintop.
Okay, good.
No.
Because I'm not sure I'm ready for that.
Unless that's your thing, of course.
Not yet.
But really, mindfulness, it's about training your brain to focus on now, this present moment.
Quieting that mental chatter we were talking about.
Exactly.
So instead of like scrolling through my phone while half watching TV and also stressing about that email I need to send,
Sounds familiar.
it's about picking one thing and actually being present with it.
You got it. It's like hitting the pause button on that information overload. Just being...
Easier said than done, I'm guessing.
It takes practice, but the benefits are huge.
Like how does mindfulness actually help with, all this information overload stuff?
It gives you back control of your attention. Instead of getting swept away by every notification, every headline,
Which is constantly happening.
you get to choose where is your energy going.
I like that. Being in the driver's seat.
Exactly. And it helps you become more aware of your thoughts, your feelings. So when that overwhelm hits, it doesn't have to control you.
It's like we're learning to filter all this information, right?
Instead of just letting it consume us. Quality over quantity. Sometimes less is truly more.
This has been honestly eye-opening. I feel like I have a better handle on this whole information overload thing now.
That's what we were hoping for. It's not about ditching technology or going off the grid.
Okay, good.
It's about finding that balance. So we can use information powerfully, but it doesn't use us up.
It's a tool.
Exactly. In the right hands, information is incredible. It's how we learn, how we connect.
But it can get out of control fast.
It can. Which is why it's so important to be mindful.
So here's a question for everyone listening.
I like where this is going.
Instead of just taking in more information, how can you be more picky?
Ooh, good one.
What information really helps you? What helps you grow?
What makes you a more informed, engaged person?
And happier, even.
That's the million-dollar question.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, there's no one right answer. It's about each of us figuring out what works, experimenting.
Trying new things.
Exactly. Finding what clicks for you.
It's a journey, that's for sure.
The best kind of journey. The one where we're constantly learning and growing.
Well said. So, to wrap things up, information overload is real. It's affecting us in big ways.
But it doesn't have to control us.
We have the power to manage it, to make information work for us, not the other way around.
We get to decide how we engage with information, how much we let into our lives.
It's all about making choices that support our well-being, our goals, our happiness.
And remember, it's a process. Be kind to yourself, experiment, and find what works for you.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive, everyone. We'll catch you next time for another insightful exploration of, well, pretty much anything.